Is beauty a real entity? Let's consider. Hello, philosophers. I'm Chico. Welcome to the Philosopher's Show, where we consider the greatest questions of human history. What is beauty? Today, we'll take a look at Plato's view of beauty, and he starts by looking at perceptual beauty. Now, in order to get a handle on what is perceptual beauty, let's take something that we perceive to be beautiful. So take, for example, The Cure's 1989 hit Love Song. That's a beautiful song. So what makes it beautiful? Well, one thing you could say is the harmony. And I don't mean by the harmony section, although that's part of it. I mean the fittingness of every part of it, right? Everything seems to go together well. Or another term we could use is a suitableness. This harmony, Plato says, is achieved through applying a measure or a number to a thing. So, for example, the beats are a certain measure apart, or the wavelengths of the sounds are a certain measure that is in a good proportion to each other. And once you've achieved the right measure in all the parts, we could call that moderation. Things aren't out of proportion, things aren't too high or too low or anything like that. Everything is in moderation. Now, what exactly is this harmony? Plato says that it's a perception of the unity in variety. So, for example, what is the difference between, like, I know Love Song is probably not 5 minutes long, but pretend it was 5 minutes long. What is the difference between the 5 minutes that is Love Song or 5 minutes of noise? Well, Love Song has got some kind of a unity to it, right? Even though there are disparate noises going on, they all come together into one sound, whereas a cacophony is just, all over the place. It doesn't have that kind of unity. So that's one aspect of beauty, the harmony or fittingness or suitableness that we find in things. And he actually even thinks that the universe itself shows this, that there is some harmoniousness to it that makes the universe beautiful because a certain measure is put on it by, he believes, an intelligent agent. But a second aspect of what is beautiful, he thinks, is what is useful. What is beautiful is that which is useful. Now, this is a little bit more difficult for us to comprehend because when we think about beauty in just like a layperson's idea, they would think that art is, fine art is that which is really beautiful, and fine art doesn't seem to be a useful thing. It seems to be useless, in fact, which is not a knock on fine art because I believe philosophy is also useless. But I think we should still do it, and for my reasons for that, you can check out my video on it. And by the way, before we go any further, I realize that there are lots of artists and art critics who think that there should be no connection between beauty and art. That is not a debate that I'm really... let's pretend like the layperson's idea is correct here. If what is useless can be beautiful, doesn't this militate against Plato's view? Well, to make a little bit more sense out of it, really, Plato wants to say things are beautiful when they're useful because he wants to say things are beautiful when they're good, especially when they're morally good or when they make people morally good. So he especially talks about music. If you want to know more about this, by the way, check out my video on Plato and censorship. But he thinks that a song that is producing something good in a person is more beautiful than a song that's not. So our song Love Song, it's about something that is good, morally good, which is love. If it were about something that was morally bad, like hate, maybe it would be less beautiful. At least that's the idea here. A third aspect of beauty, beauty is that which pleases upon being seen or being heard. So this, I think, is probably what would be the most obvious for us. When you see something or you hear something and you feel pleasure, you think that that's a beautiful thing. So those are three aspects to perceptual beauty. But Plato thinks that perceptual beauty isn't true beauty. Perceptual beauty is of the particular things. So, particular things are beautiful, like this particular song, Love Song. But when he considers beauty, true beauty, he's not talking about the beauty of a particular thing. And why is that? Because he thinks that a thing to be truly beautiful, to be true beauty itself, couldn't be a particular. And why is that? True beauty can't have any ugliness in it, right? True beauty itself can't be ugly in any way. That would be a contradiction. But when you think about the particular things that you have in the world, they can be an admixture of beauty and ugliness. So we could have, for example, like let's say you had a cat that was beautiful compared to a rat, but was ugly compared to the noble dog. So you would have a cat that's both ugly and beautiful, but beauty itself can't be ugly in any way, right? So the cat can't be beauty itself. Or particular things change. So people go from being young and beautiful to, in my case, old and beautiful. So just joking. People get ugly with time. The wrinkles start to set in. It happens, man. It's going to happen to you one day. If it hasn't already, I promise. So a particular thing, like a person, can be beautiful and then be ugly, but beauty itself can't turn into ugly, right? That would be a contradiction. So when we're talking about true beauty, Plato says, true beauty can't be a particular thing. Then how are we going to figure out what true beauty is? Well, he's got a particular path laid out for us. He starts off by saying what love is. He says that love is an absence that seeks its fulfillment in beauty. Now, that is a very fecund idea. We're not going to explore it really in this video, but to know that that's where it starts off. He then says that it's the love that seeks its fulfillment in beauty starts by loving a body. So you see a person, and that person is beautiful, and you start to love the body of that person, right? You think that you're attracted to that person. And, it generally starts off like that. It's not like you see a person and you're like, that person looks like they have amazing personality. Oh my gosh. No, you first see a person and you think there's something physically attractive about that person. So you love the body of that person, he says. Now, this love of this beauty gives birth to fine thoughts, he says. So if you ever had a crush on somebody and, you're writing poetry, you're doing all kinds of funny things, it gives birth to these fine thoughts. And then he says the next thing you do is you're thinking these fine thoughts about the beauty of this body. And you notice that other bodies also have beauty. And he says the beauty of these bodies, you'd come to realize, is the same. Now, I don't think he means that everybody is equally beautiful in the same exact way. What he means is that the beauty that's in one body is the same kind of beauty that's in other bodies. So you look at all these bodies and you can appreciate the beauty in all of these bodies. So you get a love of all beautiful bodies. But then you start to consider the person that you love, and you think all of a sudden that the beauty of the soul is greater than the beauty of the body. And so you start to love good souls. And because you love good souls, of course, you want souls to be good. So you start to think about laws and moral codes because they make people be good souls. And so you start to love these laws and these moral codes. And from there, he says, you start to love the beauty of sciences. So sciences here doesn't mean just like physics and biology in that. It means any kind of body of knowledge. So you start to love all these different sciences, and you're open up to, like he says, an ocean of beautiful things. And from there, from considering so much beauty in the world, you start to consider the science of beauty, right? So you go from the beauty of the sciences to the science of beauty. And this is where you perceive the form of beauty itself. This form of beauty, he says, is marvelously and inherently beautiful, does not come into being and is not destroyed, does not increase or fade away, is not beautiful in a certain way, but ugly in another way, not beautiful at a certain time, but ugly at a different time, not beautiful in relation to one thing, but ugly in relation to another thing, not in one place beautiful and in another place ugly, not beautiful to some men, but ugly to some other men. It won't appear as having a face or hands or a body. So in other words, it's non-corporeal. He says it's not some particular reasoning or some particular science. And it's not in something else, but it's by itself, of itself, and always one of a kind. So if you're familiar with Plato, then you'll know he's talking about his idea of the forms. Beauty is a real entity that exists independently of all other things. And when we say that things are beautiful, what we mean is they participate in this form of the beauty, right? That's why the saying, I got a pencil here. So this pencil and this hat are both beautiful. When I say this pencil is beautiful, I say this hat is beautiful. The reason I can say they're both the same thing is because they both participate in the same form. And in fact, this is his idea of beauty in the world. You start with just stuff and an intelligent agent. Harmony is introduced by measure or number being introduced by the intelligent agent on the stuff. And this is true beauty. It's inseparable from the good, and contemplation of it gives you pure pleasure because it's not admixed with any kind of pain. That's what he thinks is the manifestation of the form of the beauty. So is this a plausible idea? One great thing about this is that it gives us, an objective grounding of saying things are beautiful. There's a reason why we think certain things are beautiful and certain things are ugly. But the big sticking point here is you have to believe in his idea of forms. So if you're brand new to this, you don't know what I'm talking about, please check out my playlist on universals. And I really haven't gotten past Plato on that, but I need to get back on that. But I go into depth about the benefits and the detriments to his doctrine of the forms. So I think that his idea about beauty really rests on his doctrine of the forms. If that's plausible, then we have a great answer here. I do think that interpreting him can be difficult because, so I actually used G.M.A. Grube's essay on Plato on beauty to do all this. And the reason I did not just look up whatever Plato said was because, he says a lot of different things in a lot of different places. And it's hard to tell, like, what is his real view or what was an old view, or anyway, when I'm evaluating it, I find it hard to understand what the three aspects of beauty have to do with the form of beauty. So I think that the pleasure that's given on perceiving beauty, or on for the true beauty, it's on contemplating beauty, not on perceiving it. The pleasure that you get, or the connection with goodness, are extrinsic to what the beauty is itself. If we're asking, the question, what is beauty? And a harmoniousness may be a good answer then to what is beauty, what the form of beauty is maybe there's some kind of harmoniousness there that all things participate in, and when they participate in, they are beautiful. I don't know. I think when it gets to that point, it starts to get a little confusing, but maybe you have a better understanding. And if so, please let me know in the comments. And also, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.